Welcome to another episode of Culture8 Podcast, brought to you by Izini, your trusted partner in building thriving workplace cultures. Here we explore the intricate and dynamic world of organization culture, uncovering insights and strategies to help leaders and teams foster environments where people and business grow together. Today we are talking with Durlabh Jain, founder of CoolR. Welcome to the podcast, Durlabh. It's an honor to host you.
Thanks, Gaurav. Thanks for inviting me, and I'm equally obliged.
So, Durlabh, please tell us a little bit about CoolR.
Okay. So it really means cool retail. So if you think about you go to different stores, you have been purchasing so much stuff for years.
Yeah.
And if you look at the front of the store, probably nothing has changed apart from maybe self-checkout, which is also iffy in a lot of stores are going away with. So a few years ago, my co-founder's father reached out to me, and he presented a very good, say, challenge that how do you sell something that is not on the shelf? You can't. Okay. So with that, the basic concept we came up with is, okay, what if, you could put cameras to monitor the shelf, because seeing is believing. There is so much augmented data people work with, but human trends is something that is very difficult to replicate. Because let's say I feel like eating ice cream today, tomorrow I might not. 10 days, I might not. And on top of that, let us say there is a concert in an area, and like maybe 10 shops in that area are selling a lot more products, but other shops are not, because
Right.
people just like those shops. So this is where we started CoolR Group, where we do retail monitoring for CPG companies. We developed a unique camera, which is patent pending, which charges from ambient light, so that you don't need to replace the battery. It
Wow.
has cellular built in, so it's a single piece, no wires involved. And we already have close to about 40,000 locations with cameras equipped with different brands.
Right.
And the main thing we say where the differentiation is that we believe that there are companies generally exist for only two things, either to improve the top line or to improve the bottom line, and we exist to improve both. Okay. So that's where a lot of technologies just focus on, hey, how can we improve margin or how can we save, but ultimately we focus on, okay, how can you improve your sales. And our numbers show that generally our customers improve their sales by up to 40% in year one.
Wow, that is powerful. Thank you for sharing that, Durlabh.
You're welcome.
So before we deep dive into your views and beliefs about organizational culture, I would like to ask you a question so that our audience can get to know you better. What was your very first job?
So technically, I started professionally way early when I was 10 years old. I started developing software way back in 1990 and sold my applications to various companies. But if you think about corporate world, my first job was with a company called Hojai Global in India in 2001, and then which was eventually acquired by Rapidam and Fujitsu in the US.
Oh, wow. Super amazing story about you starting a business at 10 years old. That's pretty much how that you probably turned into an entrepreneur today, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Wow, that is amazing. That's really powerful. I wish I had that kind of brains and guts to do that, but that is cool. Um, what are the top three elements that define your organization culture? And how do these elements influence your company's success?
Since I started working very soon, or so very early in my life, I've always believed that we should always take pride in what we do. And once the pride is associated, then it's not work anymore. It becomes your part of your life.
Hmm.
So even within our organization, that's what I tell my team, that first and foremost thing is that you should be proud of what you are doing, and you should really focus on making sure that you always feel that you are directly enjoying what you are doing, because enjoyment is definitely part of the process. The second thing I believe, as everybody says, that knowledge increases by sharing. So we should always think about working on continuous and collective improvement. And when I say continuous and collective, so in a lot of organizations, there are departments. So it may be like, so for example, in our case, it could be hardware, firmware. But knowledge is not limited to one area. So the way we want our organization to always be that everybody is sharing transparently with everyone, whatever they are doing. Maybe other parties interested or not doesn't really matter. And for that, we use currently Zoom chat and Redmine, which is a tracking system, so that everybody knows what is going on in the organization. The third and the most important factor in that is the focus on the human element. And when I say human element, since day one, I have always mostly worked with remote, say, teams.
Right.
And when we are working with remote teams, the biggest challenge is how do you bring the human element? Because we set up a Zoom meeting, we set up a Teams meeting, and we just talk about the task and then we are done.
Yes.
And it's not motivating. It's just like, feel like, like, some of the people are working like minions, but and the human element is gone.
Yeah.
So that's where we always try to emphasize that, guys, like, we are under the hood, we are all human beings. So let's just make sure that that element stays on.
Yes.
And related to that, I say that respect the meaning of the word company. Okay, so when we say, okay, fine, company, what does that mean? Okay, we are working together like in each other's company. So as long as we are respecting that word, yes, like, that's how we should be working together.
Fantastic. Beautiful views, Durlabh. First of all, the very first point that you mentioned, enjoy, take pride in what you do. That's pretty much it. This is our living, right? This is our way of existence. And we should take pride in the work that we do. That's phenomenal. And talking to the point about the fun part, I'm working with a customer today, and I helped to introduce something called as the Fun Friday. We used to have that in my previous company, and I thought this was something that they should enjoy. And this actually ties very well to the human element. We're not just here to do work. We are here to be in a place where we are growing together, where we know each other, who we are working with, and plus that increases the collaborative element in the company and the team as well. So very good, great points, and very especially on that language, or rather the sharing of knowledge. That is so crucial. Left hand should know what the right hand is doing. Then you're able to really provide an efficient workplace, or really drive value for the people that you're creating work for, right? So
Absolutely. And on the last point, I would like to share. So very early in my life, when I visited a customer of mine, and I went to his office, and he had an excellent office. He had like a 90s, like it was a big TV, a nice sofa in the office, and like a place to retire and all those things. And I went to his home, and it was pretty basic. Okay. And I was amazed like how big of a difference it is, because everybody generally goes ahead and let's say has a nice house, but like, ultimately office is pretty basic. So I asked him what is going on. And he said, Durlabh, if you think about, there are 24 hours in a day, and 8 hours I'm sleeping,
yeah.
and 8 hours I'm in office, and when other 8 hours I'm either taking a shower, bath, eating, etc. So if you think about the active hours that I have, the most hours are in my office,
Hmm.
and I want it to be the most comfortable place. And same thing I tell my team members also, that think about it, that the environment you are working in should be the most comfortable part. I don't say like, you neglect your family at all. But at
Yeah.
the same time, you have to think about that, where do you invest? And you invest in the culture, you invest in the environment that you are working on, rather than focusing on things which you might be enjoying maybe once in a year, etc.
Spot on. Fantastic. I love that view, and I love this story. Thank you for sharing that. um Moving on, can you share a quick example of a recent culture initiative and its impact on the organization?
Sure. So, going by this philosophy of working as a company or as a team, rather than focusing or so working on your own or like in silos. So, I started an initiative where we are working with our account management team. So, generally, I'm not directly involved with that. We have a couple of layers in between who work with the account management team on a day-to-day basis.
Hmm.
I started this initiative, and in that initiative, slowly and surely it turned into more of a status reporting kind of an environment. And I told my team that if I need status update, you could send me an email, you could send me a message. What I want to hear is, how do you feel?
Yes.
It's more important about, do you know about each other's life? Not my life, that's just one part of it. But let's say if we have 10 people working together, and the challenge for us is that all these people are not only, say, remote, but let's say in this team we have 6 people, and they're on like 5 continents.
Yeah.
So if you think about, like, this, not just let us say uh, sort of a distance barrier, it is more of a cultural barrier, more of a language barrier. And I said that the important factor is not, what is happening in day to day life, because in terms of work, because the work is something that is not always under our control, because things happen that are, let us say, unexpected.
Yes.
And once you know each other, we learn to appreciate what is happening. And then once it becomes like a family, then it becomes more of a, let us say, an environment where you look up to and start working. And you don't really need to think about, like, say, 9 to 6, because as it is in a, distributed culture, nine
Yeah.
to six has no meaning, because you are working around the clock.
Right.
Like, at least somebody is.
Yeah. There's some
So
overlap or the other. Yes. Yep.
so it's really important that we understand each other, we know each other as a human being,
Hmm.
because that's when we start to appreciate that how we can work better with each other.
Fantastic views. And I love the fact that I'm so fortunate to be connected to you, Durlabh. It was a chance meeting, but through LinkedIn. But I'm so glad. To your points, that aspect of when you have different people, the relationship that we need to create, and that's basically it because of the complexity of the world today. You mentioned Murphy's law, right? Something is going to happen. What is in our control is whatever we have action over, right? It's that, and it's something that Edgar Sheehan, he's the notable authority on organization cultures, he speaks about what is going to be the better way of working, and that's the level 2 kind of relationships. It's not more just transactional. We've been through that. We've done that transactional kind of relationship in workplaces, but we need to move beyond that, because we need to know exactly, as you said, how do we work together? How are you going to react in certain critical and crisis situation, and how am I going to complement or to support you or to help you? So the whole aspect of, I'm able to trust you and you're going to be able to trust me, and you're going to support me, I'm going to support you, will be a better way of working rather than any other aspect of what we can think of today.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. I love that. This is great conversation. Thank you for sharing everything. Um, what is a major challenge you faced regarding your organization culture, and how did you overcome it?
So as you can imagine that when you request people to share what they are doing with
Hmm.
others, it can easily be misunderstood
Yes.
micromanagement. Okay. Because let's say, I want people to share what they are struggling with, what they know.
Hmm.
Then it becomes a challenge. Hey, do you want to know everything I'm working on? So the way we do is that we have an onboarding document,
Hmm.
and in that onboarding document we really share what is the reasoning behind everything. Okay. And we don't expect everybody will agree with it.
Hmm.
At the same time, if, let us say, as we involve more team members,
Hmm.
they share their views and we keep on refining. So once people know what is the reasoning behind it, it becomes much, much easier.
Correct.
So I'll give you a very simple example, where it becomes important. So we were working, it's just like this week, we were working on some data that we needed to load in our sales force system. And one of our account managers needed that, and data quality was poor. So
Hmm.
he just shared with everyone here, guys, I'm trying to do this and this is taking time. Then somebody who was totally in a very different department, he said, okay, fine, let me look into it, let me see what can I do. And he kind of cleaned up a lot of data using tools such as ChatGPT and Cloud AI, then
Hmm.
added some more information with some data augmentation tool and
Hmm.
become, let us say, a usable data. So if you
Right.
think about when we are working in silo, we may think about, hey, like, it is going to take too long because
Yeah.
this person, this account manager thought maybe this is 1 week worth of time, but
Right.
ultimately somebody else just converted most of the data into meaningful data in an hour. Okay. And that's where I say that skills are not directly related to number of years of experience.
Yeah.
It is directly related to relevant experience, because I may have relevant experience to something which you may not, because just I happen to come across it, and this
Yes.
is the problem I encountered.
Yes.
And this is where the biggest challenge about this micromanagement comes about. But once people understand the value of it, and when I say value, what that means is that if they're sharing something, and if you are able to either ask them, how did you do it? Or
Yeah.
you are able to provide the feedback that you could also think about this, or you could also do this way, then they understand the value of it. Okay. And
Indeed.
and related to this, I say that the biggest challenge in any organization is how do you make your new team members grow? Okay.
Yes.
So with this sharing, the I say the boundaries are broken, because
Yeah.
people understand that learning can happen from anywhere by anyone,
Yeah.
because we as human beings easily forget the path that we ourselves took. So it happens that, okay, fine, 1 year ago I was struggling in how to make a pivot in Excel,
Yeah.
and now I go at it, and some junior comes in, or let us say some fresher comes in, and I expect, okay, fine, you don't even know pivot. That's not how things should happen, right?
No.
So we should be able to convey, and I say that this as human beings, it's our prime responsibility that, okay, fine, if we have learned something, we share with others, because
And
that's how you
grow.
grow.
And grow. All everybody grows together. Yes. Absolutely. And I love that fact about, when you've got a certain thing down and you understand this is how it's going to be and it's going to provide you success, you put it down, and that's your basic assumptions of your organization. When you lay it down on paper and you share it with the newcomers, and or even the person who's new at the task, you're also explaining to them these are the expectations and this is the reason why I'm asking you. It's not to try and question you. It's not a question aspect. It is this how we achieved what we did? And if not, I'm able to, even, like you said, different perspective can provide a better solution or a better alternative or something. That we got to be agile in terms of improving our processes all the time, right? That's where the aspect of continuous learning also comes in. So
Absolutely.
I,
Absolutely.
great conversation. Thank you. um this is great. My audience is going to love it. This is awesome stuff. uh What is one piece of advice you would give to leaders about fostering a positive organization culture?
See, it's very difficult for me to say that I'm qualified enough to give an advice. However, I can share that my personal belief is that it's our prime responsibility as we grow in our career to help others. Okay.
Yes.
And by that, what I mean is that I have seen in a lot of organizations, the culture is to always only focus on the positives. But when there are, say, opportunities of improvement, we
Yeah.
don't really feel comfortable sharing with others that, okay, they might have an area of improvement,
Mm.
because we want to focus on, let us say, just the positive side. And at times that kind of, let us say, limits the potential of some team members. Okay.
Yes.
So I always feel like, say, as people say that whether you see half glass full or half glass empty,
Mm.
I always say it's not about like whether you feel, whether you look at the glass that way.
Mm.
You always think about like, okay, even if you see half glass full, how do you consider it? Or if you see half glass empty, how do you consider it? And what
Right.
I say is that, okay, fine, if it is, I see half glass empty, okay, the
Yeah.
question should be, how do I make it full? Okay. So this is where my feeling is that as, say, anybody who is managing any task, it is important to make sure that give very transparent feedback.
Mm.
It doesn't need to be negative, it can be constructive.
Mm.
But if there is an area of improvement, do share with others, because otherwise you are kind of removing their, or say, limiting their ability to grow. And this is
Spot
just
on.
like something I've seen a lot of organizations lack because they are worried about like let us say more of a uh, uh, conflict. Sometimes people say, but I don't feel
Yes.
that it is conflict. In my opinion, it is more of that can other person trust you because you are giving totally unbiased feedback.
Spot on, Durlabh. And first of all, I may not be a complete authority on organization culture, but I have done a lot of work reading and learning and just trying to build myself into that role. And I would say you are a great leader and you have a very good capabilities and qualities and attributes that you are able to build this organization to where you are. And everything that you said is bang on, spot on, on exactly how you need to be in an organization. You need to value your people. You need to grow your people. You need to teach your people through feedback, because culture is not about just being happy and just keeping a safe feeling. You have to have healthy conflict conversations as well, which includes constructive feedback. Obviously, you don't want to belay or put down somebody. No, that's not the objective. But you're, as you said, if you just give them positive feedbacks and you don't give them other feedbacks where they can grow, they're not going to grow. And guess who's going to be at a facing loss situation? It's going to be your organization. If they're not growing, how will your organization grow?
Yeah,
So
yeah, and it's a like as people say, if you're not sharing the truthful and open feedback, you're just kicking the can down the road. That's all you are doing.
yeah,
Because as you said, it's gonna hurt. And what I've also seen is that once you start sharing open feedback, yes, people have a reservation initially, but
yeah,
once they understand that it is for their own good, they are
yes,
open, and then it's not about individual, then it's about collective growth because they understand there's no personal emotional emotions attached.
correct,
It's more about how do we do better.
correct. And I love that you pointed out it's practice, people. It takes practice and it starts slow, but then it sky, just reaches for the sky. I love it. Thank you. Awesome. This has been a great conversation so far. I probably have said this many times already, but let's do a quick round rapid fire question set. What is the book that you recommend the most?
So I would say I'm a little bit selfish. So 1 minute manager meets the monkey because I really feel that if somebody else can do it, why not? I'm a lazy person, so okay, fine, I'll push it back to them.
Yeah.
And I expect my team members to come back to me with the answers rather than me looking for providing the answers. So when
Yeah.
they come back to me, I think they have already exhausted the options and they're just looking for an answer from me.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and plus, then you're at this point in time, if you're always going to be giving them answers, how are they going to grow? How are they going to have the self efficacy? How are they going to have neuron connections forming in their brain about the complex solutions that they or situations that they need to face? Fantastic. I'll recommend a book to you as well. Probably you might have read it, but it's called Coaching Habits. Similar aspects in this conversation as well. So
Sounds good. Thank you.
awesome. No, thank you. Um, Fun fact stuff. What is one thing that people would be surprised to know about you?
So I have worked on so many technologies that people get surprised. So when it comes to languages, etc., as I started in 1990, a lot of people have silos, whether they have worked on say .NET, C Sharp,
Yeah.
Java. So probably I have worked on not only just multiple languages but multiple environments as well as so many technical areas, whether it is DevOps, whether it is server management, so many things.
Hmm.
And related to that, like until 10 years ago, I did not even have a degree. So it was all self-taught. And that's why if you think about that's the culture I grew in. And related to that, I would say that since day one, I learned this habit of say documentation, quality of code. So I have a product that I developed way back in 1992, 93, and
Hmm.
is still in production, and people still ask me to make changes, and I'm still able to make the changes. So I say even Windows did not last so many years. And the
No.
product.
Fantastic, man! Hats off to you. That is awesome story. Fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. Um, I'm sure a lot of my audience would love to connect with you. How can they connect with you?
So Probably LinkedIn is the easiest way. And my personal email, durlabh@gmail.com. It's very simple. So that's the best way. And I will strive my best to answer to anybody has questions, or put in touch with some of my team members if they want to talk to them.
Well, this has been a great episode, Durlabh. Thank you so much for being our guest, and we had an absolute pleasure and a great conversation. Thank you so much for being our guest.
Thanks, Gaurav, for the opportunity.